So when we talk about digital transformation, it is not just a project or a program like that. Digital transformation is about fundamentally changing how organizations operate and deliver value to customers by integration of digital technology into all areas of business. When we talk about digital transformation, there are four key elements in any program, which is the use case, the data, tools and technologies, and skill development. Any effective digital transformation program has to start with the right use case, right? That should drive everything else with the involvement of the right stakeholders who will own the outcomes and continue to use those products.
Because being a leader in both IT and digital transformation, as a CIO and as a leader, are there any key recommendations that organizations can effectively incorporate or at least take into consideration while planning digital transformation strategies?
Governance, risk, and compliance. These are the backbone of successful digital transformation in manufacturing. In my experience, ensuring these elements are effectively managed requires a structured approach that balances innovation with control. Otherwise, people will find it stifling. In my mind, the top two elements which we should consider when we talk about GRCs, having a strong governance framework, which means establish a clear ownership and accountability for digital initiatives. Define policies, standards, and escalation mechanisms to manage the risk.
Key skills for individuals or CIOs, up and coming CIOs, to elevate their digital transformation strategy.
We should also adopt a more modular and scalable digital architecture. Right? This will help us to be more nimble and can help us to move faster. We should move away from monolithic legacy systems, towards things like microservices and API-driven platforms. This will help us to adapt to the changing needs, and it will also help us to interconnect with our ecosystem partners, which also will be a key requirement. I think the coming decade will redefine manufacturing as a smart, autonomous, and sustainable, where AI, IoT, cloud computing will drive efficiency and innovation.
Hi, you're watching the mainstream. I'm Simran Shivalkar, your host for today, and we are back with a new episode of our exclusive series, Voice of CIO. Today, we have with us a true tech leader, Mr. Ramesh Rajagopalakrishnan. Mr. Rajagopalakrishnan, thank you once again for joining us and being a part of the series.
Thank you. Thank you, Simran. Glad to be here and looking forward to share some of my thoughts.
Wonderful. And while Mr. Rajgopal Krishnan and his contribution is well known in the tech space, I will still take this opportunity to share a few things about him. Mr. Ramesh Rajgopal Krishnan is an experienced Chief Information Officer CIO known for his leadership in digital transformation and Industry 4.0 at Grasim Industries Limited Chemicals Division. He drives IT strategy, providing governance and thought leadership to align technology with business objectives. He has also been instrumental in advancing manufacturing, energy, safety, and logistics through digital innovation. Before Grasim, he has also played a key role at Birla Carbon, shaping IT strategies and leading digital initiatives. With a strong focus on governance, risk, and compliance, he is a forward thinking leader shaping the future of technology in business. Today, we are thrilled to hear his insights and also deep dive into his journey. So, Mr. Rajgopal Krishnan, shall we begin?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. So, like we said, you have played a major role at Birla Carbon and now you've transformed as a CIO at Grasim. Could you tell a bit about this journey?
Yeah, it's a long, interesting, and eventful journey, for this, course of my experience, both in Birla Carbon and Grasim. I was fortunate to work in very interesting projects in different domains, which has not only, helped the business to benefit, but also it has, immensely enriched my own, skill sets, I
Wonderful.
would say.
And you have also been at the forefront of digital transformation at Grasim Industries and even at Birla Carbon. If you could tell our audience a bit about the digital initiatives that you have, primarily looked upon and also their impact on when it comes to business operations.
Sure. So when we talk about digital transformation, it is not just a project or a program like that. Digital transformation is about fundamentally changing how organizations operate and deliver value to customers by integration of digital technology into all areas of business. When we talk about digital transformation, there are four key elements in any program, which is the use case, the data, tools and technologies, and skill development. Any effective digital transformation program has to start with the right use case, right? That should drive everything else. With the involvement of the right stakeholders who will own the outcomes and continue to use those products. This is the most important one. And then we should have the good quality data which will support this digital tool development or program, whatever you may call, right? Third only comes the tools or technologies. That's often is most spoken about, but actually that's not the most important one. Though it's a key element, that is not the most important one, and most of the times people miss by talking too much about tools and technologies. Right. The use case should, drive what kind of tools and technologies we need to employ rather than the other way around. That is the key here when we talk about tools and technologies. The fit for purpose tools and technologies for the use case which we are trying to address. And last, and unfortunately very less spoken about, is the skill development. This element alone is a reason for ineffective implementation of many digital programs. Unless we work in a very concerted manner in developing skill set of the people across the board, who will be able to completely understand what we are developing and will be able to use the tools to a fullest extent. That's the way to get the full value out of it, right? So when we talk about any digital program, we try to address all these four areas and with those appropriate priorities. In our businesses, we have developed multiple digital programs around operational excellence, where we try to improve the production cycle time, energy efficiencies. We have projects around customer engagements, how we can develop the engagement of the customers, how we can get the customers to understand better about our products and applications of those. And also internally for the employees, how we can upskill them, how we can give a better visibility of our processes, automation of processes, and having a balanced scorecard of the business operations. These are some of the key initiatives which we have done across both these businesses.
Fantastic. And right now, Mr. Rajagopalakrishnan, this is a question that I personally have for you are now Chief Information Officer at Grasim, and right now there's a buzz about Industry 4.0. It has now become a game-changing tool when it comes to all the verticals, be it energy, be it manufacturing, and logistics included. How have you incorporated strategies for Industry 4.0 or any technologies that you've incorporated into Grasim's strategy, and any specifications that you could share with our audiences today?
Sure, we'll be glad to share that. And especially in the manufacturing companies, this is the most talked about topic, right? When we say Industry 4.0, it's a trend of automation and data exchange in manufacturing technologies, which includes use of Internet of Things, IoT, to improve efficiency and productivity of industrial processes. This involves integration of advanced technologies such as AI, ML, IoT, or more specifically industrial IoT, when we say in the software environment, and advanced analytics into the industrial processes. This allows for greater automation, improved decision making, and more efficient production line. Use of IoT and automation in industries allows for greater control, monitoring, and optimization of industrial processes, leading to increased efficiency, productivity, and competitiveness. Some of the key initiatives which we have undertaken around how AI/ML models helped in process control to maximize throughput to achieve consistent quality, how real-time monitoring and predictive maintenance has cut down downtime, how digital tools minimized incidents and enhanced the safety protocols on the shop floor, and also safety of logistics operations. How predictive analytics reduced lead times and inventory holding cost, optimized our supply chain. These are some of the examples where we have deployed Industry 4.0 tools and technologies to benefit the business.
Wonderful. And along the lines, because being a leader in both IT and digital transformation, how do you ensure that IT strategies are also aligned with business goals, and How do you see collaboration being a key player when it comes to, collaborating with other business functions, and how do you see this alignment working smoothly?
So when we talk about aligning the strategies, IT and business strategies, talking about alignment is a very, I would say, a bit outdated way of approaching things, right? Now, IT has to be embedded in the business. So there is just only one strategy for the business, right? What we want to achieve, what we want to be, right? In which every function has a role to play and IT has a role to play. We are not going to make a separate strategy for IT and see, whether it is aligning or not aligning, right? It has to be part and parcel of the business strategy development, right? So that's why IT leaders should be part of the leadership team. They should be on the table, helping the leadership understand the capabilities of the IT tools and technologies and how those can be leveraged to meet the business objectives and the strategy, what we want to deploy. So it's about that. So it's not anymore about aligning. It's to be part and parcel of the business and being embedded. And when we talk about IT, strategy, which is part of the business strategy, some of the key things which we need to keep in mind is agility and nimbleness, right? Today, the business environment is very dynamic, right? We can't talk about projects which will run for months and quarters, right? Now, people are talking about weeks in terms of delivering things. So that's where we should see how we can leverage the tools available to deliver things much quicker, be agile, and should be nimble, right? And things can't be cast in stone, right? So business leaders are wary of investing in something which will become kind of a dead weight for us after a period of time, right? So we should be able to use and quickly evolve. That's where we should try and see how we can use things like SaaS, cloud computing, which will help us to be much more agile, which can also help us to evolve faster, right? That's the key thinking which we should bring on the table and give assurance to the leadership that IT can be part and parcel and we can be very responsive to the dynamically changing business needs. That's the key here. We can't talk about implementing some tools and technologies and has to make it work for next 5 years, 10 years. And that may not be an workable option anymore.
So Rajagopalakrishnan, thank you so much for elaborating and throwing some light on that. Again, taking cues from, along the same lines, today governance, risk, and compliance are major factors when organizations look at large-scale digital initiatives or even the whole idea of digital transformation itself. According to you, as a CIO and as a leader, are there any key recommendations, that organizations can effectively incorporate or, at least take into consideration while planning digital transformation strategies?
Governance, risk, and compliance. These are the backbone of successful digital transformation in manufacturing. In my experience, ensuring these elements are effectively managed requires a structured approach that balances innovation with control. Otherwise, people will find it stifling. In my mind, the top two elements which we should consider when we talk about GRCs, having a strong governance framework, which means establish a clear ownership and accountability for digital initiatives. Define policies, standards, and escalation mechanisms to manage the risk. Second most important is data integrity and resilience. Implement real-time data validation and governance policies. There should be a continuous review of data quality and maintaining business continuity plans and disaster recovery. These are the top two things which comes to my mind when we talk about GRC. Of course, there are other elements which we need to take care also under the governance, which is ensuring compliance. Compliance has to be everyone's top priority. It can be, for example, we are seeing the DPDPA Act is coming into practice. So we need to ensure that we have adequate processes in place to ensure to data privacy compliances. It can be things like GDPR, PH, or any other compliance needs the business may have. Compliance, also we should try and see how we can automate things. Relying on manual checks to ensure compliance is very difficult to achieve. And conducting regular training and awareness is very important in ensuring compliance also. The other elements which we talk about are cybersecurity, because with the kind of digitization happening, amount of data which we are generating and handling, and also the multiple tools which we employ and integration of those, it really increases the vulnerability of the whole ecosystem. So that's why it's very important to have a cybersecurity as a core pillar. We should adopt a zero trust architecture to secure the systems. And also, lastly, third party and supply chain risk management. We work with a variety of partners. How do we assess their security and compliance maturity before onboarding them? And also enforcing certain contractual obligations. And it doesn't come without challenges. There are multiple challenges. The topmost in my mind when we talk about the challenges of digital initiative GRCs, data silos and inconsistent reporting. Many times this comes out only after we are midway through the project. People do not have a good idea about how much data silos we really have in place. Ensuring accurate real-time reporting across operations is very challenging. Implementing a unified data governance framework with robust analytics solve these issues. It requires a lot of work. It requires a lot of work over a period of time, and many times it's an iterative approach. So we should show understanding and patience to get this done. Some of the other challenges include resistance to change, like any other initiatives. So this is something which we need to work with the people to get the stakeholders on board, and balancing security and speed. Right. It's never either or. So how do we balance this? And like our business, any established business will have a lot of legacy systems. How do you manage the integration of legacy infrastructure with the modern digital transformation tools is another challenge. And cybersecurity itself is a big challenge which we need to continuously work to mitigate those risks.
Right. And you also put a special emphasis on, the DPDP Act, which has now newly been, it's not no longer a new introduction for businesses or even organizations running digital transformation initiatives. But do you think these acts can actually help businesses at a larger level, coming across from different verticals, be it logistics, be it manufacturing, rather than giving, having an internal security? But along with that, these acts could actually help organizations build that robust infrastructure and also prevent some of the attacks.
Uh, I think one of the maybe unexpected fallout of a DPTP and Act compliance would be business will realize how much data silos we have in place, right? Because when we do those deep dive assessments to understand what kind of data do we collect, how do we collect, where do we store, it gives an end-to-end picture of our business, and then we realize, okay, so that's also an opportunity for us to work on it. Now, to ensure compliance, we need to bring all of this data into a common platform. We need to have a uniform processes in place. So that way, it's also an opportunity for us to get more efficient with how do we handle our data. And DPTV especially is going to require a lot of awareness with people, right? Some of the very small things which people taken for granted. For example, when we interview some people, we get resumes, right? People freely email them to all the interview panel members. It's in mailbox of multiple different people. Now, how do we ensure that that is tracked and deleted on time once the interview process is over? It's so, which means we need to have a very simple, effective process in place to handle this kind of data. Like this, there will be challenges with respect to multiple other data elements also. It's only just a small example. So it's going to a lot of awareness from people across the board.
Fantastic. And lastly, as a leader in the tech space, you've also seen emerging technologies, rapidly changing and evolving the business landscape. So, looking ahead, how do you envision the future of digital transformation in manufacturing sector per se? And how do you think companies can further leverage these technologies to stay ahead of the competition?
Future, okay. When we talk about future of digital transformation, I think there are four key elements. One, autonomous and AI-driven manufacturing. It's no more assisted, it will be AI-driven manufacturing. And second, hyper-connected factories on an industrial IoT platform. Human-machine collaboration. It's going to go to the next level. Sustainable and green manufacturing, which is a focus area of every responsible business. These are the four key themes which I see as part of the future of digital transformation. Autonomous and AI manufacturing, especially AI and machine learning, will take over real-time decision making, optimizing the production and minimizing downtime. So it's also an opportunity for the businesses who are struggling with gaps in the expertise and skill set, and self-learning algorithms which can predict failures, which can adjust the workflows, AI-powered robots, autonomous machines, which will enhance the precision and also the efficiency of manufacturing lines. This will be there. When we talk about hyper-connected factories, it's going to be sensors everywhere. Full-scale sensorization of assets, which will enable real-time monitoring and predictive maintenance, which will also enable development of digital twins to create a virtual replica of the factories. It will shorten the development time for many products with the easier simulation capabilities. When you talk about human-machine collaboration, AR, VR, we are already seeing a lot of use cases on the consumer side, but even on the manufacturing side, it's going to be a lot more useful. Today, we already see use of AR, VR primarily around training and safety monitoring, right? But that's going to evolve many further. And collaborative robots, which will work alongside humans to improve safety and efficiency. That's going to be one when we talk about next gen human machine collaboration. Lastly, on the sustainable and green manufacturing part, digital solutions will drive carbon footprint reduction through energy optimization and waste reduction by monitoring and providing real-time alerts. AI also can be used in monitoring the circular economy models and promote more efficient use of raw materials. I think these are the four key elements which I see when we talk about the future of digital transformation.
Wonderful. And lastly, before we wrap up the session, any key recommendations or key skills for individuals or CIOs, up and coming CIOs, to elevate their digital transformation strategy, and for organizations to build a robust infrastructure, at the same time also have a solid digital initiatives built up for, to be ready in the competition.
My first and foremost thing is invest in upskilling employees on the technology, AI, IoT, cybersecurity, data analytics, right? This is a very key element for success. And we should also foster a mindset of digital adoption, and it is aligned with business goals. That's more important. That's when we will see the ownership and buy-in from all the stakeholders. We should also adopt a more modular and scalable digital architecture. Right. This will help us to be more nimble and can help us to move faster. We should move away from monolithic legacy systems, towards things like microservices and API-driven platforms. This will help us to adapt to the changing needs, and it will also help us to interconnect with our ecosystem partners, which also will be a key requirement. I think the coming decade will redefine manufacturing as a smart, autonomous, and sustainable, where AI, IoT, cloud computing will drive efficiency and innovation. Companies that embrace agility, data intelligence, and ecosystem collaboration are obviously going to outpace the competitors and future-proof their business.
Rightly said so. And thank you so much, Mr. Rajagopalakrishnan, for sharing these crucial insights with us, and also throwing some light when it comes to cybersecurity landscape and also the digital transformation part of business operations and efficiency. This conversation has been very insightful, and while we conclude today's session, I definitely look forward to connecting with you again.
Thank you, Simran. It was a nice discussion, and was glad to share some of my thoughts.
Absolutely. The pleasure is totally ours.
Thank you.